Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in and watching. Today we're going to cover the high elbow recovery, and what I'd like to cover on this point is that a lot of swimmers over the years have asked me why would we go to the point of delivering a high elbow recovery phase in the front crawl stroke. Well, there are a number of benefits to which we want to follow and what we want to get from doing this, and I'm going to run through those with you today using this video and a little bit of analysis. First of all, point number one, efficiency of travel. What I mean by this, as you can see on the screen, this swimmer here has completed the underwater phase and has finished this underwater phase just here. So is looking to start the recovery phase as we're looking at it, and you'll see if I go through this frame by frame that we've got a lift of the elbow so that the hand can pass through. Note that the position of the arm here compared to the position of the elbow here, you've got that much lower hand and much higher elbow. It allows for the travel to be very direct, coming all the way through here to the point as to which the swimmer now will enter the water hand first, come into that point. Now this is opposed to what you might see quite a few swimmers doing, and certainly a lot of correction that I've made with swimmers over the years. Instead of following this direct line of travel, they've instead adopted a swing of the arm over the top, or possibly a fling of the arm around to the side. And it's clear to see that obviously where your hand exits to where your hand goes back in, you're looking for the most efficient route to follow. And if you follow this red line here that we've previously drawn, it is going to definitely be the most efficient route to follow. The most straight line, most direct route from exit to entry point, and hence the recovery phase is working for you in a nice, efficient manner. Okay, point number two. What you do generally in a move, in any swimming stroke, is not only good for the present time and what you want to achieve in that particular move, but it also sets up the following move in the sequence. And in this case, high elbow recovery promotes position of entry where the arm is in line or in respect to its shoulder. So again, looking at the video here, where the entry point is very much in line with the shoulder. Now, if you happen to be flinging your arm over the top or swinging your arm round to the side, it's going to potentially encourage the arm to cross over or to land in, push down, as opposed to it being very much through a forward movement and entering and then reaching. You can see once the enter reach has been performed here, there's no adjustment that is required. Swimmer's arm is in the position it needs to be in order to perform that catch phase and then also pull through. So it's removing any unnecessary steps. It supports the move that follows by doing the correct technique preceding that. Okay, for point number three, another benefit to doing high elbow recovery is that it promotes a much more relaxed recovery phase. So we know that when the arm or the lever length, in this case the arm, is shorter and closer to the body, then the muscles that are delivering that move, in this case you're looking predominantly at the shoulders here, have to work less so than if the arm was straight and out. The further away we move an object from the body, the harder the body has to work in order to perform that move. So we're using basic biomechanical physics here really to suggest that in this, if we have a flexion in the elbow, not only does the shoulder work less, but obviously as we've spoken about before, it's a quicker, more direct route. And the other muscle groups to point out as well is if the swimmer's arm wasn't flexed at the elbow here and instead was extended with the hand over here, then you're looking at the engagement of the tricep muscles on the back of the arm. The only way that flexion, or extension in this case, of the elbow can take place is if you're either using biceps or triceps. So if I wanted to extend my elbow here, I'd be looking at using the back of my arm. And as I'm showing in the video, there is no need to use the back of my arm at all. In fact, I'm going to encourage not using the triceps. I'm going to allow the arm to be quite relaxed as it comes through. There's less muscle recruitment going on in order to perform that recovery phase, and I'm getting all the other benefits that I'm going to be running through with you as well. So it really is quite a win-win situation. Some of you may suggest that it's really momentary, and is there really a great deal of efficiency to be saved here? I fully understand your point. One thing that I would say is that the accumulation of strokes is what's going to make a big difference with this. One stroke in its own right might be viewed as being not very important, but an accumulation of thousands of strokes over a 4,000 metre open water swim, for example, or many times of swimming throughout the week, is going to mean that you're going to be working unnecessarily harder in your recovery phase than need be. And quite frankly, when something's called recovery, I'd like it to promote exactly that. Okay, another benefit, this one may not resonate that highly in many swimmers' remits, but what we're going to suggest here is that it's a more sociable stroke. So whether you're using this in a mass open water start of a triathlon, a swim, or if there's a few of you in the swimming pool or in any given lane, if we all know that flinging your arm around the side not only has a lot of disadvantages coming into the stroke technically, not only does it look a little bit messy, but also you're more likely to be flinging your arm and clashing with someone else who might be swimming in the opposite direction. So the social side of it means that I think you'd be a little bit more widely accepted in the lane should you be doing that. And the other thing that you'll note when you come through here is that it's got a nice smooth enter reach, and you can see that happening on both arms, as opposed to coming over the top and landing in and making all kinds of splash going on potentially, and you see an awful lot of that noisy, quite splashy swimmers. So it might not be a very important part to some people, but again, if you're not splashing and making so much noise, you're also going to be way more efficient, as well as a little bit more accepted in the pool. So point number 5, this is more a misconception that I'd like to dispel as opposed to anything else. And first of all, I've heard it said so many times over the years that encouraging a high elbow recovery can lead to shoulder injuries. Okay, so what's my take on this? First of all, if you're trying to do high elbow recovery and you don't have the other aspects of the stroke that you require present, then yes, I agree there can be an increased risk of some shoulder impingements or discomfort through the shoulder. Now, this is not designed to be uncomfortable. High elbow recovery is designed to be more efficient and more effective in the stroke. So if you are feeling any discomfort, put it more down to what I'm about to go through with you now. When you reach and rotate the body, as you'll see here in the video, there's an opening of the chest you can see across, and it's facing the camera. It's probably pronounced a little bit more so because the swimmer's turning head to breathe towards the camera at the time. It allows for a big freedom of movement for the shoulder. It shouldn't mean that the shoulder is trying to work hard to move through this move in order to perform a high elbow recovery. It's a big freedom of movement as it comes through. Now imagine trying to do this high elbow recovery while the body is flat in the water and facing the floor. If the body was flat, parallel and square to the floor of the pool, and there wasn't that twisted positioning that you're seeing here now, then high elbow recovery is going to be pretty awkward, okay? So you must have reach rotation in the stroke anyway for high elbow recovery to be easily performed and to have a huge reduction of risk and injury, and for it to be comfortable. Okay, but the benefits of reach rotation, of which there are plenty and that you'll find on some of my other videos on my YouTube channel, are more than enough reason to be having that present in the stroke anyway. So we should be swimming with a reach rotation anyway. High elbow recovery is just a byproduct of being able to deliver that easier because reach rotation is present. So don't fall into the trap, guys, of trying to think that it's going to lead to shoulder injuries. In all the years of swimming like this with high elbow recovery and reach rotation, I touch wood, but I haven't suffered any shoulder impingement injuries whatsoever. When you fling your arm over the top or around to the side, it's often to compensate for there not being any rotation. It's the only way that you can clear the water with your arm if you're not rotating. So not only do you then suffer not having rotation in your stroke, but you're also encouraging a very inefficient recovery arm phase. So it's a double whammy in a negative fashion for your stroke. So another reason and another benefit, I guess, is I often hear a lot of people saying to me, well, I don't really need to change it. My swimming's fine at the moment. And if I don't use high elbow recovery, I don't think I'm going to suffer too much in my swimming, which is absolutely fine. Nobody is saying that you have to swim with this. If you decide not to use high elbow recovery in your front crawl, then you can indeed get on absolutely fine. The only thing that I would highlight is it's often avoided. The change process is often avoided because it's quite an awkward part of the stroke, and you don't feel any direct extra propulsional power in the stroke from going through the awkwardness of making this change. So not always are we aware of what's going on above the water as much as we might be aware of what's going underneath the surface. We're also attributing the main purpose of the stroke being underwater. Everything you do under here is going to be much better at driving you this way here. And that can be the case. But if everything underwater is in a great place, surely then it's time for you to be focusing on what things go on above the water and how that can be improved even more so to make you be a better swimmer, enjoy swimming a little bit more, have even more efficiency, fluid movements going on through the water so that you can reap the rewards of what that might be. So how do we go about evoking this change in our stroke? Well, I've insinuated it a few times already in the previous part of the video, but first of all, we need to have reach rotation in our front crawl. So pick up a couple of the other videos we've done on our channel with regards to reach rotation if you'd like to find out more information on that. But without this, we are really putting ourselves into a challenging position to be able to deliver high elbow recovery. So first of all, we need reach rotation. The other thing we need to focus on is once the underwater phase is over here, there's nothing more that you can do with that arm to aid or to facilitate more propulsion. It's a question of it just coming back to this point. So try and step out of your stroke and be able to see what you're doing in your mind. And thinking about creating that direct line of travel for the hand. We're thinking of just using a little bit of the shoulder muscles to pick up the elbow. We only want this elbow to go up, and imagine though somebody's grabbed your elbow and picked it up, and this part of your arm needs to relax. This part of your arm needs to relax. It's just the shoulder that's working in order to pick up the elbow, and the hand and the forearm relaxes and stays low. As I go through frame by frame, nice and easy, just a little bit of effort. Most of it's coming from the twist, a little lift of the elbow. The elbow's out of the way, and before you know it, the hand passes through and is ready then to enter and reach. So guys, that's it really. That's high elbow recovery where you want it to be. The idea is to practice, stay relaxed, enjoy your swimming. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'm Mark from Create Fit, and I very much hope to see you soon. Thank you.